Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, and welcome back to another fun live class. And I am super duper excited. My name is Leigh Bella Ralston. I am also known as Mommy Leigh on the internet. Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. Today is going to be really fun. I know I say this every single week, but I promise you, today I'm super excited because this is actually the first time that we are going to be working with some acrylic paints. So I don't think I've ever used acrylic paints ever in a class before. So this is the first time that we're working with acrylic paints and also in a very whimsical way, right? So let me grab my mouse in here so I can see all of your comments in here. Hey Angie, happy Wednesday. Hi Laquita. Oh goodness. Hey, hey, hey. Hi, Dad. I hope you're doing well. I am praying for you. So hang in there, okay? So today we're going to be working with acrylic paint, and I know Laquita's dad loves to paint, um, doing wood work, right? So some wood materials from Michael's. Laquita showed your project. It's absolutely beautiful. It's so much fun. I can't imagine when you guys are working with like ornaments or things like that, personalized things. It's the best. Art day is the best. So I am super excited. But before we dive in and before we get started, I really want to take this opportunity, of course, to thank my sponsor, our sponsor, I should say, because, Faber-Castell USA, the good folks from Faber-Castell USA is the one making this weekly classes happen. Without them, I will not be here doing all these live classes weekly. So with their support, I'm able to show up and have fun and create classes for all of you. So thank you so much, Faber-Castell USA. Make sure to check out their website. It's fabercastell.com. Okay, so before we dive in, we're going to talk about all of the supplies first. Hi, Christy. Hello. Hey, Sarah. I'm so glad you guys made it. I am so happy you're here, Christy. Super, super excited you're here. Okay, so in front of me, I have lots of stuff, right? So actually have this new journal. And if I open this up, you're going to see some of our classes for next month. And I'm going to open up. I'm going to go be uploading all of those classes tonight. So I know Angie's going to ask, but it's all done. I just need to schedule them, but we're going to have some fun with some Halloween. We have some lettering classes coming up. We also we have some illustration and have fun with some gelatos. So this is a ledger journal I got from Michael's. It's from Dilution. So I love Diane Reevely. I love her. I love her stamps. I love her art style. I love her illustration. Lately I have been finding myself getting into mixed media. And of course, Diane is one of those artists that I just look up to and I just really admire her as well. And so I have her journal here. It's a square ledger journal. So it's like different. There's dot grid and there's like a ledger on some. I think there's graph as well. Yep, there's some graph and then some ledger. And it's a yellow paper. I don't know if you guys can notice the difference from this paper to this one. This one has a yellow tint to it, warm tone. So it's really nice. And I love that the dot grid and the graph is actually like a very faint, a very faint brown. So it's like a really, really warm gray or a light brown. I love it because it's not in your face. So I think this is what I'm going to use today instead of my mixed media paper. I did actually pull out some mixed media paper in here, but I think I'm going to work in my journal. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And then I have some, of course, water. Excuse me, some are dirty already because I was playing earlier. And then I have some assorted brushes in here. Hi, Emma. I'm so glad you're here. I have some flat brushes. So this one is a small one. This is a 6 millimeter, right? It's called One Stroke. So I have different ones from different brands. So like what I said, you don't need to have it. It's just whatever brush that you're most comfortable using, please grab that. I do have some round brushes as well. And then I do have a spotter for like details if I want to use it. But If I will be honest with you, I love using my Pit Artist pen for like using it for my kawaii faces. You know how I like dots and smiley faces. I love using the markers. And then I have the set of, it's like a set of 12, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, from Faber-Castell, the acrylic paints. So this is what we're going to be working with. So we also need an art palette of some sort, like this. If you have like a paper plate, that works. And then instead of pencil, I want to use a colored pencil for my sketching today. We do not have printable for today's class because the snail is super easy to make, and then we're going to create some mushrooms in the background and some pumpkins because I really want us to be loose with our illustration. So I want us to go dive in with paint and brush and just have fun. But you can sketch if you want to use any type of pencil, feel free to do that. If you want to sketch lightly, just so we can make sure that our composition is set before we jump in with our paint. So we can sketch. It truly is up to you. And then I also pulled out some of the Faber-Castell Shake and Paint. So these are acrylic paints. So I don't know, maybe I just grabbed the white, the black, and the gold. We might use it later, add details here and there. You know me with my whimsical little things in there. But so far, I think that's about it. I'm not going to get some eraser because I'm not going to need it because I'm really going to be loose with my sketching today. Or I should say, we'll see if I will. Okay. So Sarah said, Sarah, you always draw your outline before us. You're not joining in the fun. Okay. So I'm going to pull all my brushes here on the side, and then I'm going to grab my pencil. And then you know what I'm going to do, because last week we had some issues with the contrast, where it was too bright. So I'll make sure that we don't have that problem today, because I got some comments where they were having a hard time seeing or sketching. So the sketch work. So I want to make sure that we get that taken care of and just make sure to ease up on the contrast so our sketch would show up much, much better. All right, and then as always, I can see your comments in here in front of me. So if you have any comments while we're doing this, or you just feel free to just chime in, start a conversation. We're all creatives in here, and today, remember, is just pure fun. And as always, anyways, every week we just explore and have fun. Okay, so the sample that I created, I have a snail in the front, and there's like little mushrooms, shrubs, and then there's a little pumpkin just because it's Halloween coming up. Speaking of Halloween, I got this cute mug from TJ Maxx today. Look how cute this is. Oh, it's so cute. So grab your favorite drink, whatever drink I'm having, decaf coffee. I know, don't judge me, because as I get older, I'm having a hard time drinking coffee during the day. I only have, regular coffee in the morning, really strong. And then during the day, afternoon, I gotta have decaf or else I won't be able to sleep. Getting old is no fun. Yes, Sarah, the Wizard of Oz is gonna. Did you see some of the photos I posted? We won't be able to do all the characters, but we're gonna draw Dorothy and Scarecrow. So that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so this is the sample that I created. I just want to pull it up so you guys can see. So we have a snail, just so you guys can just like have a visual, right? So we have some shrubs. The good thing with acrylic paints is that they're opaque and they dry fast. So it can be a pro and pros, and it can be a negative, or it can be a positive, right? So it can be a negative when you work really slow, or it can be a positive when you want to work fast because it dries fast. So that means when we were working with a medium that is opaque, that means that we can, have a good coverage, right? So we can create the background and then create our foreground on top of that background because it will cover up that background. So we won't have any of that issue of that translucency that we get when we're using, like, for example, watercolors. It's really hard to establish that. So with acrylic paints is that we can cover it up and we're good to go. So, that's always the fun part about the acrylics. And then one of the issues that I was having with acrylics before was that I was using it like how I would use a marker per se. I was aiming for this very smooth perfection, almost like an airbrush, right? So I was treating it like a marker. And I would always get upset when I get, the textures, because remember, we're talking about like a year, 2 years ago when I wasn't into textures yet. That's why maybe I was having a hard time with acrylic paints because I don't know, maybe it's the way my brush strokes are. Remember, I have heavy hands, but it would always bother me where I would get like a part where there's like a thicker paint applied, and then some parts of it are smooth and gradient. But as the years go by, as I do more, as I practice more, I've really evolved in a way where I really did embrace the imperfection of the brushstrokes. And little did I know that that's the beauty of it, is that the texture that you can create from using different types of brushes. You can even use palette knife, right, for application. You can use sponge. You can use your fingers. I mean, really. So as I practice and as I use it more, I'm like, I am really loving the acrylic paints. I love using two colors, mixing colors, blending colors. It's all the fun of it. So today, that is what we're going to explore. We're going to create our colors. We're going to blend. We're going to create some textures, and we're going to create a beautiful, very fun, whimsical illustration. Okay? All right. So let's start with our sketch. Now, we talk about this all the time when we do our sketching. We start with our basic shapes. Now, we can always start with basic shapes if you would like, kind of like really start with an oval, right? And then another oval, and then almost like an arch, or if you want to complete it like a circle. If we really want to break it down, our snail, into three basic shapes, think of it this way. You have one oval here, and then another oval here, and then you have, um, or oblong, right? So yeah, it's almost like a squeezed oval. So this is more like an oval here. So three basic shapes. And then if you want to start from that doodle, then you can go really working on your line work because you have that basic shape. So now you can start coming in and then really forming your subject. But if you think of it as just basic shapes, it's less overwhelming. So now I'm going to complete my snail, just like that. So we have that shape. And then I'm going to create its shell. My oval shape is too small, but you get the idea. You want to start with that really basic shape, and then you start drawing and using that as your guidelines. So your first basic shapes is not your exact subject, but that is just your guideline for the bigger picture. So now I have my shell. That's our snail. See how easy that was? And then you can add its antenna over there on the side. And then remember, we're working in this very childlike, a picture book type of illustration. So I want you to let loose and just allow yourself to, if you want to make its antenna like a spiral, make it spiral because we're creating our own characters here. If you want to make this part big, usually this is their eyes, right? But I'm not going to do it this way. You do the eyes here, just like that, and then have it down like so it's more of your typical snail, right? But look at the sample that I created. I just used this one. And then I made my face over here part of the body. It made it even more kind of like kawaii style, right? So you can do either way. You can do it this way or you can do it this way. Okay? So your choice. Now looking at this is so whimsical. I might just do mine like this so we can have a different variation. Yeah, let's go for it. So I'm going to go, since I know pretty much my snail, I'm just going to go in there, almost just like a curved line. And then I'll curve it up right here. And then narrow on top. And then I will go wider as I go down, right? And then from here, I will go bring this down. We can add some wave to it. if we want, just like that. So almost like adding some movement to my snail. I'm gonna make this part of the shell. I'm not so worried about my sketching because remember, the acrylics are very opaque. So we can cover up whatever mess we create in here, just like that. Sarah, it's on Instagram. I think it's on Instagram. But all the information, all the info for the class hasn't been uploaded yet. It will be uploaded tonight. Okay, guys? Okay, and then we'll add this part. This is for my eyes. Yeah, I'm gonna make this one like this. Or my eyes in here. And then a letter, an upside down, or letter U for my mouth. Super cute. Okay, and then we can play later with the texture of our shell because you can draw something inside of it. So we're gonna have lots of fun. And then we draw our pumpkin in here. Remember the way we would draw our pumpkin? We start with the center, that middle part, right? And then we just keep adding another one here. I'm gonna make it where oop, I'm having a hard time because of the palette. Like that. I'm not trying to make my pumpkin perfect also. I want to match that whole aesthetic of a very whimsical feel to this, right? Then the stalk of the pumpkin right there. And we want to start adding, I wonder where I want to start adding my mushrooms though, because I really want the focal point to be the snail and that pumpkin. We can just start here, just a little bit there. We start with that shape, just the basic shape of a mushroom, right? Just like that. And then we're going to draw some leaves in there later. So I'm just sketching out leaves, maybe in between our two mushrooms also, like that. And then we have another one here. Okay, then we can just keep adding more later. Maybe we can add some mushroom in here. I don't want it to be take away from my pumpkin and my snail. So I'm gonna hold off to that, but I also don't want this to be um it feels incomplete. You know, we have all of this, but my eyes go down from this to go to my pumpkin. So that it's almost like a ladder, right? So it's either that we start adding some pumpkin over here, maybe small, or we're gonna make like small ones in here later on. But so I'm gonna leave it as is first, and then we can start with our paints and then we can work on the background later on. But for now, as long as we have our subject, you know, we have our composition, I think I'm happy with that. But I'm pretty sure we might add something in here. We can have like a speech bubble in here just to fill in this area, or you can leave this area right here to add a little bit of journaling or something, you know, but at least you have some space in here. At first glance, it looks incomplete, but then it leaves some space for whatever it is that you want to add on later. Okay, so first let's work on the body of our snail. So I have a Van Dyke brown in here, so I'm going to use that. And then I also have a yellow ochre. I'm going to mix my colors and then I have a white color, okay? But we need some warmth to add in like a little pinkish tone to it. So I'm going to start with my yellow ochre first. And then I'm also pulling in my pale geranium lake because we need to bring in some of that pinkish color. So we start with the pale geranium. I have some issues with using too much paint. For some reason, I just like to squeeze in the tube. So I'm just gonna, I don't know, guys. I'm sorry. Yeah. And then we're gonna get a little bit of brown if I want to add some dark. I don't like using black. You don't want to do that. So we have that. And then we have our white in here, that in the center. Okay. Okay. Okie dokie. We're gonna start with our yellow ochre. Right? So you can see the color. We lighten that because I want to light. And then I'm going to pull some of that pale geranium. Ooh, that's a lot of pale geranium. So far we have this very corally color in here. I'm going to pull some more, a little bit of yellow ochre. I'm getting there. I don't think I'm going to use my brown, actually. I like this. I like this shade. I'm just going to add in a little bit more white, just so I can lighten the color just a little bit. Or I'm going to try to get just a little bit. Ugh. If you have a palette knife, they always say it's better to use a palette knife when you're blending your colors, but I don't know. For some reason, I just like to just get in there and use my brush and then just wash my brush. Gonna grab a little bit more. So if you have like this color already, like a beigey, warm beige tone to it, then you don't have to mix. But I have limited colors with this set, so that is why. But I'm having fun. It's like part of the fun to mix in. Okay, I'm really, really happy with this. Look at this color. So that's nice. That's a nice color. So I'm gonna get in here and I'm just gonna paint. All right. I'm just gonna paint. La da da. Oops. I'm using a round brush and I'm just painting. Get in there. Ah, I didn't mix enough. And I was afraid that I was, you know, squeezing too much. But it's okay. Look at all those brush strokes. Isn't that fun? I love that. I love it so much. I mean, if you would ask me before, that would so um bother me a lot because I want it like so smooth. And I'm like, why was I trying so hard for that smooth finish? Should have just used markers instead. I know. I know. Hi, Angie. All the classes will be, yes, uploaded on the website and also here on YouTube. So under the live tabs. So most of the time, everything is like set up here on YouTube as well, but I will be putting it on the website also. And then also I will be sending a newsletter once all the links are working and up, so you guys won't have any trouble finding it. So if you're subscribed to the newsletter, then no problem. See, this is the fun part. Look at this. We blended a much lighter one, so I am going to intentionally leave some part of that dark area, and then I'm just playing with my strokes, pick up and then fill in the shape. Ooh, that's fun. See how parts of that darker shade of coral, this one I added too much white, an accident, but I love it. I knew it was going to be lighter, but I was actually loving it like that. And I'm going to go pick up some of that pale geranium and then blend again. Now we're going to create more strokes in here. Look, I have some in my brush. So I'm just going to roll it into that surface or canvas. Like that. You're so welcome. And add it over there. I'm going to go pick up some of that pale geranium again. A little bit of that. And then I'm going to grab, did you see me pick up a little bit of that brown, wanting to create like a darker? And then I'm just going to add it to the bottom part. I'm just really like dipping the tip of my brush in there, just to create that darker contrast. Just a little bit. It is so cute. And we don't even have its eyes yet, Aberdeen. And it's already so cute. See, and I'm intentionally just kind of like squeezing my brush in there because there's lots of products on the base. And so I'm just kind of like rolling it and then moving it around. And then it creates texture at the same time. So much fun. All right, I'm going to go get more yellow ochre. And then we're going to get some of that Van Dyke, right? A little bit of that. I don't have white yet, so I want this to be just a mix of this 3 color because I want a little bit more extra or a different value and tone of this color like that. So I didn't use any white. It's just the yellow ochre, a little bit of that Van Dyke. So if you're working on a larger surface than mine, then your portion of paint, of course, is going to be different, you know, so just kind of like pay attention to that. To me, it's always, I don't know. I would like to say that it's always better to just kind of like not waste any paint. But then again, if you're very specific with your color and you want to have a very exact match, then you might have some issue if you have just a little bit. So I'm adding a little bit of contrast here under that circle part or that oval part. Right? Just adding in there. Just, it would cast a little bit of shadow, just like that. And then of course, by its shell, almost like creating that. See, my paint now, my brush is getting a little dry, so it's creating even more strokes for me. But the only thing to be careful about is that if the surface, if the first layer of that paint you've applied is still a little bit damp or it's still wet, what's going to happen is the tendency to lift the paint, right? So just kind of like while you're working with it, give it a little feel and see how that feels. Maybe it's kind of like, ooh, ooh, and you're going to see it. You know, if you just kind of like push it and apply a little bit of pressure, when you lift that brush, you might lift the underneath, the layer underneath. So just be mindful. All right. Okay, now I'm going to do a little bit of mix while we're waiting for this to dry. I'm going to do for my mushrooms. So I'm going to grab my white. And then I'm going to put it in here because I still have some yellow ochre. Oops. See, I told you. I squeezed too much. I'm going to grab that white. Sorry, white. Okay. So we have this really light beige color. Very nice. And there's not any mix of that pale geranium to this one. I don't know if it's like picking up the paint underneath. Oh, this one, look, it's different now. I think I was able to pick up a little bit of our mixture earlier. So this one's slightly warmer. See this one? Pinkyish, I should say, than this one. This one is a bit more yellow, or there's a little bit of that left in my brush. And I think that's one thing that I really want to share with you today and explore with you today is that type of surprise, with art, the unexpected, I should say, and that being okay with it. Um, it's okay. It's okay when it's not perfect. It's okay when you're like working and then you weren't expecting that mix or that color and you're like, I just want to do over. So just have fun. Have fun. We're exploring here. Okay, so now I'm creating a little bit of highlight using the same color that we've used in our mushroom. And that's another thing that I want to talk to you about is using the same colors even in our blends here. What it does is it creates harmony in the painting. So I'm going to just create that when we're using the same tone um, of colors. It's going to give us that beautiful harmony. I'm going to add a little bit of that highlights on the circle as well. And you're going to see that later on the more we do it. And we're going to have a good balance of warm and cool tones as well, because we're going to use some oranges in here. And then we're going to add some blue scarf and do color in our snail, its shell, color blue. So that's really going to be fun. So we have a balance between the cool tones and our warm tones. So I just added some white in there, and I'm going to add some white here and there also in this part. So imagine that this is our light sources coming in from the right side, the top right. And that's why all our highlights are over here, right? And so I'll do the same thing. I am picking up a bit more white than the yellow ochre. And then we're going to add some highlights to the right side, all as well of our mushroom. And my brush right now feels really dry. It feels really good to me because it's giving me some nice yummy textures in there. So, it's so nice. You know what? I'm going to set this one a little higher because I think the glare is like, I'm going to add that over there. I feel like that's better. Oh, look at that. That's so much better without that reflection. Just slightly tilt it. It's nice. It is a great lesson for life. Exactly. Because you know what? There's so many surprises. Everything can happen, That's what I always say. It's like, and sometimes you just gotta focus on what's good. I have 3 kids. I have 23-year-old. She is married right now, and she's really thriving. And then I do have an 18-year-old boy in the middle, and I have a 15-year-old girl. And so there's still a whole lot of life lessons to learn for them. And isn't it crazy because I'm turning 40, what, 43, I think, on Saturday. So I'm turning 43 on Saturday. And I always tell my children, there's lessons every day. So it's not just because you're young and the lesson is yours and we don't have lessons anymore. No, no, that's lessons are every day, even for us. It just depends on how well you want to learn the lessons. All right, so we're just adding a bit more highlights in here. And look how pretty that is. All that beautiful strokes, right? It's pretty. I'm gonna add a little bit of bounce, a little bit of highlight here on this side too, because remember, light bounces. So we have a little bit of that white in there, just a little bit. I know we added brown in there because of the contrast, but all that light, the beautiful light, it bounces, so it's okay to have a bit of like glow everywhere in there. Okay, I'm gonna stop because I'm not gonna stop because I'm loving it so much right now. Ah, thank you guys. Thank you so much. I know it's crazy. Another year older and wiser. I'm gonna pick up some of my baby wipes to clean my brush. And then we're gonna prepare some teal. I'm thinking teal color, like a aqua color, you know. So we're gonna create our own colors again. And here. Last time I used a paper towel, so I'm gonna be fine. So clean my brush. All right. Okay, so the colors that I want to use would be, I think I'm going to use the light blue. But we want to create our green first, okay? So we want to use yellow. Oops, sorry, yellow. I'm going to need you a little bit. But if I want to create like a little olive tone in here, I might use the yellow ochre, honestly, for the blending. You know, because I don't want a too bright yellow. And I have this cadmium, which is, you know, very bright. We'll start with that. Then we can add yellow ochre if we don't want to. Thank you, friend. Thank you so much. So let's start with our cadmium. Okay, and then we're going to add blue. Remember, if you want like lighter green, then more yellow. If you want more on that bluer side, then use more blue. Instead of that light blue, where's that light blue? Instead of a light blue, maybe I'll use ultramarine. Maybe we'll get a different shade of green when we mix those two colors. Let's have fun. I'll have that. We'll start with this. Let's see. And I'm going to use the back of my brush this time to just blend it. Ooh. Ooh, nice. Look at that deep shade of green. Mmm. That is nice. But I think if I'm going to use this, I might just use that for this one right here. Yeah, but I think I want a little bit more yellow here in my blend. I'm just going to add that. So when you're trying to create your own colors, just play with a little bit at a time, right? So you can really gauge it. Look how beautiful olive we have now. Ay, it's so pretty. Look at this pretty, pretty, pretty green. It's so beautiful. Ah, it's gorgeous. I'm gonna use whatever paint I have. I don't want to waste it. Okay. Okay. And then let's paint this one. Because whatever's closer to us, it's going to be, I want it to be slightly darker over here, and this one would get a little brighter here. I should probably use my bigger brush now, but it's okay. So we are away from our light source a little bit here. And then we have some of that shadow cast from our snail and its shell and from the mushroom. So then when we talk about light source and when we talk about light, man, nature is such a beautiful thing because it's unpredictable. But you can always play around. Good thing that our type of illustration is whimsical. You know, we're not really aiming for like super perfection in here. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow as I move into this part right here. Oh, no, 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 that's brown. Have you ever um done that before? Where you're getting a different color and you're like, that was not what I was wanting, but okay. So now we're adding some brightness to this color, creating a bit of that mix. Like at that. And still over here. I'm wondering, what is your favorite brush? Do you guys like working with a flat brush, or do you guys love working with a round brush? I know everybody's different, and I think I like round brush better. I think that might change. You know me, I'm a Libra. Things change. I question everything. But for now, I'm going to say round because I think round is very versatile because you can create like thin, but then you could do that with the flat brush too because you can use like the that thin side of the brush, right? But I feel like maybe I've just gotten so used to using my round brush that I don't know, just find it much easier. Even though in the beginning it was not easy. I promise you that. It was not as easy. I like it. I love that green color. That beautiful tone, like um I can't think of it right now, but that's getting old for you. I had a thought in my head, but I can't think of it. It's a beautiful, it's not really emerald, so like a dark olive. I'm just gonna go with the dark olive. So I wanted more green because I wanted to mix like a teal color. So I'm gonna add a little bit more mix here. We're gonna create our own green again. So we'll start with our yellow and then a little bit of that ultramarine. I'm just going to use just a little bit. You know, I can even pick it up from this so I don't get too much. Okay, look how much that is. Just a little bit. And I think it's still a little too much, but there. So I'm starting with my green, and then we're going to add our light blue in here to create this beautiful aqua color for my shell. I was wondering if we should color in, make a scarf for the snail, or maybe just keep the shell. So I'm just adding light blue into the mix. Light blue 147. There. Ooh. Nice. Look at this blend, guys. Look at this blend. Mm. Make sure you blend it well. I'm using my brush. I should have used the, the wood handle, but it's okay. No regrets. We owe it. We're gonna own our mess in here. I like this, but I feel like I need a little bit more blue to it. So I'm going to add a little bit more light blue and a little bit of yellow. This is what I love about the acrylics and that I didn't know I love. Does that make sense? I didn't know I like to mix and blend my own colors. I didn't know that because with the markers, everything was like instantaneous. You know, I have all the colors. So you just kind of like pull the colors and then use it. But I feel like with, you know, the gouache, I've been into gouache as well, with acrylic, especially if you don't have all the colors. You have the primaries and you have, you know, some good blendable colors. I feel like everything is more intentional because you slow down. You slow down a whole lot and you're really paying attention. And I feel like that process is really part of the fun. For example, this one is being too mint for me. So I'm just going to add a little bit more of the light blue and see where it takes us. Should maybe add a little bit of ultramarine. I don't know. So we have this beautiful mint. Oh, this is pretty too. Yeah, this is much better. So having that light blue. Yeah, to continue what I was saying, I feel like everything is a bit more intentional when you're like really slowing down to just even create your colors like this. It's like Little did I know how much I really enjoyed this because I thought, I'm like, who has time to blend their own colors? I'm like, uh, yeah, it's fun. Okay, so I picked up a little bit more ultramarine there. Look at this. Ooh, I think I'm there. I think I'm getting there. I just need to blend it real well. I think I'm getting that color that I like. That's the color I want. The ultramarine was what was missing. I like that. Right? Look at that. See the color? How gorgeous is that? Oh, look at how pretty. And see, guys, we can cover up our sketch. I feel like it's still a little too light for me, too bright. I feel like I don't have enough contrast from my, I'm not saying the right thing. I feel like I need to make my grass a little lighter. So we might do that later. I don't like the contrast between the two color. I feel like the green is too dark for this. We're okay. We're okay. Like that. We have enough. I'm going to go use whatever paint I have, and I'm going to go put it on my other side of my journal. So it's almost like starting this side of the journal as well. So we can do a little bit of mixed media in here. Because I don't want to waste it. I'm going to create something in here later. We have a start. Because you know what's always scary about doing any type of journaling is the blank page. The bright blank page staring at you. But when you have like a color like this already, it's less intimidating and it's less scarier. There you go. I can start something there later. Where is my... Hey, I want to add a little bit of texture and brightness to our grass because it's a little too dark for me. So we're going to grab some yellow, some of our cadmium yellow in here, and add it to our mix. I'm just going to use this well in here, right? Everything is wet. Everything is wet. And I have a small desk. Okay. And then I'm going to drop that in the water. Let that. I'm using the light blue so we can create like a lighter green. Because remember earlier we used the cadmium yellow and then we used the ultramarine to blend our colors. So this time I'm using the cadmium yellow and the light blue to create a different shade or value of green. Okay. And then instead of using my brush, I'm going to be just wiser this time. And then use look how bright this yellow is. That is what I was looking for. That, my friend. Yes. Living. So we're going to use it on top to create textures. And then I'm going to use the same yellow to paint parts of the leaves in here. Whatever paint I have, I'm just going to put it here. And create some mixed media project in here later. And I kid you not, that's most of the time, that's how I start with my page, is I just add paint to it or use my art crayons or use watercolors and I just splash paint to it just so it will take off that edge of that overwhelming feeling of what am I going to create? So it's like as long as I decide on a color palette, then we're good to go. It's like I would just splash colors and paint. Okay, so we're going to build our leaves just like that. I'm just using my brush. Remember how to do that. Use the tip to create a fine point and then add a little bit of pressure to create some thicker strokes. So tip and then the body and then press and then lift and release, let go to create that tapered and then do it again. Bottom, just like that. You can make your leaves as long, as little as you would like, whatever you would like. You can make it more round. You can make it a bit more stretched. I'm not going to overthink the leaves. We have been drawing, painting leaves since we were little kids. Just have fun. It's all about that process and how much fun you're having. Like that. We definitely have to paint the inside of our shell. I can already imagine. Maybe put some vines and flowers or use orange paint so we can have a good, nice balance between the cool tone and the warm tone. Because even my green right now is on the cooler side. And I want to bring some warmth to this painting. So definitely the orange and then the red. I think we're going to use red for our mushrooms or orange, reddish orange, just so we can have a nice contrast. Emma, thank you, darling Emma. Thank you so much. Blessed to have another year. What a beautiful gift. That I do not take for granted. Okay, and then I'm going to use the same green and I'm just going to add in some like this marks, some organic marks in here. So we're going to create some visual interest in here in our painting. And I'm just using the tip of my brush and then just really laying down paint. It's almost like a little tapered because I'm almost like lifting. Look how what I'm doing with my brush. I am twisting as I go and then lift again and then move. And also I'm playing with my pressure. So some are like small, some are like slightly bigger. And this is mesmerizing here. It's almost so meditative, like Laquita when she does her patterns. Oh, I don't know how long those took, friend. I bet you it took forever. All the Zentangle that she's doing. I want to get into that too, but to be completely honest with you, I don't know if I have the patience. I really don't. I really don't. Because, I tried like drawing my own mandala. It took forever. I'm such a lazy artist. And I think that's why I really liked and enjoy and been enjoying, I should add. I have been enjoying the acrylics because it's like I have an excuse for like imperfections. It's like, oh, it's part of it. It's part of it. It's part of the artistic. Oh, Emma, thank you. I'm so glad. I'm so glad you said that because, it's a new medium to me and when I'm trying to still explore and learn a new medium, I really want to get into it even more so that whatever skill I have developed along the way, then I can share it with you. Everything because the more you use a certain medium or an art supply, you really explore, you gain more knowledge as you use it. And so that's what we do. We just keep using whatever medium that we have, with our markers, with our watercolors, and we gain a lot of knowledge. And so everything that I have learned through my practice, I'm sharing with you guys. So I'm so glad you guys are having fun and enjoying this class. Okay. So now I still have a little bit of green in my palette, and I'm going to use that green. I'm going to go paint my stalk. So we're not really trying to create like a realistic, we're not trying to render, a realistic illustration. So just don't worry about it. Don't overthink the contrast, the highlights. Just start painting. Just do paint first and have fun with it. Now, I feel like I want to use a little bit of this green, whatever I have in here, and use the same pattern just so we can have a little bit of that pattern play in here as well. I'm just going to add in some imperfect dots so we don't waste whatever paint we have as well. And then the same time, we're also filling in this empty space that we have. Ooh, I like it. It does take time. I bet it does take time. Yeah, I did mandala once and I'm like, I'm not doing that again. I'm like, I am too lazy for the mandala. And then I think like with the mandala, or I was probably just overthinking it as always. Um, but everything has to be like in line and symmetrical and so perfect. And I'm like, no, I'm too ADHD for this. I cannot just, but sometimes I can if I really want to hyper focus on that one. But maybe that day I'm like, nope, I can't hyper focus on the patterns. I like that. I'm gonna bring in this pattern as well and just add a little bit here at the bottom, just so we can have a good flow. Right? Because I'm overthinking. That's why. I like it. I like it. I like it. I'm just gonna add a little bit there. Stop me. Stop me, guys. Okay, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Oh, Dad, you're more patient than me. I can't do mandalas. There are way so many artist on online that sells mandala designs already. So I think I'm just going to support them and then buy their art so that I can show some love because I can't, Dad. I tried. Okay, so we're gonna create some orange in here. I'm gonna use my pale geranium lake first, and we're gonna color in our mushroom, but I want that orange tone but not so bright, so we're gonna use a little bit of that. And then we're going to add in a little bit of that yellow ochre. So think of the yellow ochre as that it adds cool tone to my yellow, to the yellow. It's not as bright. So it's almost like a mustard. See that color? See? Pretty. And then I'll be smart again and use this to blend. Look at you lay. See? It just added. So now we have this gorgeous orange tone. Beautiful. I love it. You're so beautiful. I'm gonna use, now it looks like Christmas to me. Aw. I love it. I love it. Whatever. Oh, Christmas. Dashing through the snow. Okay. Okay, so now we're gonna go create our mushroom. Mushroom cap. I don't think I have accomplished that blue tone to my shell. So I'm rethinking my shell, but I'm not going to keep you forever. I want to, but I'm not going to. But I'm really rethinking my decision there with that shell, guys. I think it has to be a little bit more blue tone. What do you think? Thank you, Sarah. Thank you so much. I have no plans for my birthday, guys. I think just having I don't have Jazzle, my oldest, because she's working. So I think just a simple dinner with my family is a perfect celebration because I get asked a lot, what are you planning for your birthday? I don't think I really have any plans for my birthday this year. Okay. Bum, 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 ba-dum. The green and red, it's giving me Christmas. Bum, ba-dum, ba-dum, bum, ba-dum. Speaking of holidays, what is your favorite ultimate Christmas favorite song? Ultimate Christmas song. Ultimate favorite. Ultimate favorite. Gosh, I think mine would be the Christmas song. Ah, it's hard. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Jack Frost nipping at your nose. Such a beautiful Christmas tune. Yuletide carol being sung by the choir folks. Let's see if my Van Dyke. Yep, there's still a little bit in there. Like Eskimo. Because I want to create a little bit darker for the under for here. So whatever brown I have in there, I'm just going to use it. Everybody knows. Turkey and some mistletoe. Another beautiful one, Laquita. Definitely a beautiful one. Silent Night. Classic. I love the classic music. There are very, very few new songs, I suppose, that I like. New Christmas tune, I should say, I should add. I just love the classics so much. I'm an old soul. I just love old. Silver Bells, another classic, Sarah. I love Silver Bells too. So every classic, I love it. But new song, what do I like with the new? I guess the All I Want for Christmas. I like that. What else? Santa Baby, dun 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 dun. Is that song? I think that was dun, 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 something like that. Okay, so now I'm going to use a dark cadmium orange. It's like this bright orange. And whatever blend that we have left in there to color in my pumpkin. And look at me being smart. Yeah, because the dark cadmium orange is just a little too bright. Little too bright. Especially I didn't have that aqua color in there. So would be a little too bright. So paint all over. Okay. So yeah, so that's a good tone against that red. So we're close to the red color. Look at this. It's so much fun. I can cover up any mistake because it's so opaque. And then I can build up texture by just applying a bit more product in there. So fun. And then we can work on the highlights and details in here in a little bit because we have all our colors in. Now I have a predicament. I am really thinking of changing my tone to that. I feel like it's not teal enough, but I don't know. Maybe I won't. Okay, and whatever paint I have in here, I'm going to use it. I'm going to have to make a YouTube video how I'm going to use this page, I think. You know, just so you guys can have at least an idea what to do or how to work with a page that already has like paints like this. That is a mess right there. All right, so I got the paint. Wash my brush. Get rid of the excess water. Just like that. Okay. Now I want to bring in some highlights, right? Because look at our beautiful texture of our snail in here. And then we don't have any texture there. So that's what I want to work on. I'm thinking maybe adding the cadmium and the dark cadmium orange together. Let's see what we're going to get. Just a little bit of that. I can create some colors. Okay, I think that's a good idea. We're going to work on that left page there. Let's mix the two together. Yeah, that is bright. Look how bright that is. See? That's bright. That's bright. I'm going to mute it just a little bit with a little bit of white. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me, guys. Ooh. I'm contaminating the white. Uh-oh. Don't do what I did. Do what I say, not what I did. Okay, we're gonna turning it into a slightly pastel-ish. I like that. I like this tone. See how much that changed? Now we have this pastel orangey. Go over there. Okay. And we're gonna create some highlight to our pumpkin. Shine night. It's not giving me a fall vibes. I feel like I need like brownish or something in here. It's like giving me like pulling me in fall, but it's giving me a Christmas also because I guess I can see that red and the green. Then it's really not. I think what's throwing me off is this one. Should I make it brown? I think if I change this to brown, you know what? It's gonna give me that fall vibe. I'm telling you. Should we change it? Should we do it? Should we do it? Should we do it? Should we do it? I think we should do it. Now I'm going to add a little bit of that pale geranium. And then we're going to create a little bit of the dark down there. So we can have different tones. Right now we can add that a little bit of that Van Dyke brown also. Let's do that. I'm really, really so close to, that's a lot of Van Dyke brown. So close to coloring that part because I want it to feel like autumn. I want it to feel more like fallish. So I'm just picking up a little bit of that. Ooh, I like it. See? Yeah, that changed it. I like that. Now I'm going to use a bit of that and then just add it there. Okay, I think I'm going, but my fear is I don't want it to have the color close in like the pumpkin. Also, I want this to be slightly different, but the aqua tealish color is not giving us fall. So I'm just gonna go in, see what we can create with this. Like a really, like a cool brown, like not a sienna. Yeah, a little bit. Look at this. See this brown that we're creating, like a cool burnt sienna. Very cool. Has a cool undertone to that. Look at that. See, can you see? I wanted the shell to have contrast from the body, so I can't make it too light because then we're gonna have the same value from its body. So we want to have some contrast. And then now, because we have a cool undertone in there, that will affect also this layer that we're adding right now. And we're going to add some textures and designs to it. I'm happy. I'm so glad I did. I like this one. I like this much better. And then I have this brush stroke. See the dry brush strokes that it's creating over there? I love that so much. Just be careful not to lift the colors, okay? So be gentle with your pressure. Just like that. I'm so glad I did it. I'm going to use whatever paint I have in here. So you can have that color in here as well. I love it. Are you leaving your shell blue? Perfect. Okay, so for the details, I am going to use the shake and paint. Remember, I have the gold shake and paint. Can you imagine that gold against this brown? Gorgeous. It's going to be gorgeous. Okay. We can use acrylic paint as well, but the shake and paint is also acrylic paint in a marker form. So it is dual-ended. You have a 3mm this side, and then you have the 1mm plastic nib. So a much better one for details, so you can create smaller details like that. This for 3mm is, of course, much larger, but it's nice to have. And I'm going to add dots to my mushroom. So I'm just pumping like this. So give it a little bit of pump, and then look how perfect the dots are. Ah, it's so cute. So depending on how heavy you want to go and how much product it's going to get. So you can also go sideways to create like smaller, or if you're having some problems with that, just use the 1 millimeter. Does that make sense? Because you have dual ended. So just use the other one. I don't like it when it's too perfect, so I'm going in. I'm just kidding. I don't like too perfect dots anymore because it doesn't match the whole vibe. The whole vibe is like so whimsical. And then when it's giving me like perfect dots like that, it reminds me of more of a kawaii where everything is just like perfection cuteness. So this one's giving me more whimsy. You can always use a brush, if it's better. It's like that. Ah, I love it. And then we can use white first for our eyes, like that. And we're going to paint it black later on. Let this one dry. You can add in some, highlights over here as well to your pumpkin, to the stalk that's close to the light source. We have a little bit of highlights in there. This is my last part that I do with my painting is I do some white strokes and dots like this. I love adding like really intense highlights like that. Remember, if you want to just kind of like create like strokey thing, you can use your finger, play around with that. Or just use your brush. Again, like that. So different applications, kind of like with art crayons, when you use different applications, it gives you different results. I'm gonna get whatever. And then I'll do the same thing over here. Now a bit of the white. Okay, but I'm going to use my 1 millimeter in here, and we're gonna add in our patterns inside. I feel like this one is already dry, so I can add in my face. You can use fine liner like this, or you can use the shake and paint. Give it a good shake. Look how much more opaque that is because it is acrylic paints. All right. And so the only thing that I don't like about the acrylic paints is how glossy it is. That's the only thing. So I tend to use more gouache than acrylics. But then again, there's like different finish that you can buy now. There's like a matte finish to mix in with your acrylics. So you can mattify them as well. I think I'm going to draw. Oh gosh, this is where Laquita is so much better than me. Patterns. Oh, I'm terrible at patterns. I just want to do like a real spiral in there and then call it quits. I'm done. I don't know. And it's still slightly wet anyway. See? The paint is still lifting. So I don't want to ruin it. I have a good excuse not to go over it, but I do have my drying tool, so I really don't have an excuse but to just do it. Do it, do it. Oh, okay. Let me dry it. What kind of pattern? Should I add leaves inside or should I do the imperfect dots or is that overused because we have like dots happening in here already? Remember when your acrylics, when they're already dry, there are some there are some colored pencils that you can actually use to add details, bring back details to your painting. I've seen many different artists do that as well. So they want to add a little bit more details, so they use colored pencils. Yeah, I don't know. This is hard. What should we add? I feel like we have too many dots happening. Maybe I should just do a spiral. Yeah, paint it in gold. That's right, guys. It didn't remind me. I wanted to paint it with gold. Mary, did you know? That's beautiful, Emma. I love that. I don't know. You guys are not making it any easier. Uh, let's start with the gold. Let's see. Maybe gold leaves. Let's do that. Oh, maybe do the spiral and add leaves to it. I think I'm getting somewhere. Think I'm getting somewhere. Okay, good. Just give it a little pump, pump, pump. I'm gonna go start on the top. And then I'm just gonna go. Look at that gold against this brown, you guys. This was such a good choice. Oh, it's beautiful. Look at that gold. It's so pretty. And then I'll just add dots. Hmm. I'm getting somewhere, I think. Oops. I need to go pump it. Pump it, pump it. There. Ooh, look at that gold against that thing. So pretty. This is giving me lots of patience. You mean you have to do this like million dots? Oops. Laquita, you are so patient. Oh, there's so much more dots that I need to do. But that contrast, look at that contrast. I love it. Okay, I'm being impatient. Look at my dots. It's changing. It's not looking like dots now. It's looking like teardrops because I'm crying. I'm crying because there's so many dots. Santa, tell me, is it really? Is that Santa? Tell me. That's from what's her name? Ariana Grande. Na 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 na. Sarah, I don't think I'm doing anything exciting for my birthday. Maybe do groceries. I'm too old. I don't know. Maybe, maybe I'll cook something yummy. I love to cook, so I always cook. And sometimes I find that my cooking is better than expensive restaurants anyways. So I don't know. I don't know. I will share it on my Instagram, whatever it is I decide to do on my birthday. Okay, then we'll add the black. Wow, whew, I'm tired. Just kidding, Akmita. I'm gonna do the black for my eyes. Ah, so cute. It's so cute. I wish I had more of the brown because I want to add a little bit of brown everywhere, but I think this is it. It turned out so adorable. I don't know if that was a good decision with a brown, but I think I'm sticking with it because it's already brown. So I can't. I'm sticking with my choice. The brown is a good choice. Okay. So it's giving me more fall. I have that red over there. But then again, that's nature. We have red and green. It's just a beautiful, contrast. I love, love, love what we did to the body. I think that's my favorite part. And then I love this part right here also. Hmm. I love it all. I love it. Don't forget to, when you're using your sketchbook, make sure to always date your work. Again, do what I say, not what I do. I try, I promise, guys, I try to do it. But it's really important to do that because when you have a date, you can look back into it and say, oh my gosh, look how, look at what I painted back in, 2021 or something. And it's nice because you can see the progress, you can see how much growth you have, and how much just your art evolves and change, and and it's just so much fun flipping through all that, and then you have a date, a timeline. It just makes it even better. But I hope you guys enjoyed this class. I had a wonderful time. This was a really good one because, like last week, it was really just a lot of like playing. And the whole month of September was really fun for me because we explored different mediums. So that was really, really fun. Next month, we're going to be playing with Gold Faber sketch markers. So we have alcohol markers. Get your art crayons or gelatos ready. We're definitely going to be using it, creating beautiful gradients. And then we'll use some watercolor as well. And of course, the Pitt Artist Pen for some fun brush lettering because, hey, we haven't done any brush lettering for quite some time now. So we need to brush our skill. So I hope you guys enjoy this. I had a wonderful time. October classes will be available tomorrow. I will be sending out a newsletter. If you are not subscribed to my newsletter, please go to my website. It's IamMommyLay.com. But everything will also be under my live tab here on YouTube. So make sure to check it out. Or if you have any questions, you know where to find me. I am on all over Facebook, Instagram, all those what cool kids, do. Um, but anyways, thank you guys so much. If you are watching this on a replay, please join us. This is a weekly thing every Wednesday at 5 o'clock Central Time. Again, thank you so much to Faber-Castell USA. Thank you so much for your support, for supporting creatives like us to, do some fun classes like this. I appreciate all of you. Have a good rest. Have a good evening. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I will see you guys again next week. God bless you all. Stay creative and stay happy. Bye, everybody.